remember this one time when I was younger, one of my friends, she said she wanted to be a makeup artist. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, you could do that? You could be that? We
That's
could
a
be
real
that?
job,
That's
yeah.
a thing? So when I finished school, I told my dad that I wanted to be a makeup artist. And he's like, why don't you just get a job at Dillard's? Like, what a supportive family I have, right? And that's because they're all like upper echelon.
Of course,
like,
yeah, lawyer stuff,
right.
yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Not really, but thanks
Yeah.
for the non-support,
Yeah.
which is horrible, but whatever. My friend tells me this when we were younger, and then it kind of popped in my head when I was living in Florida. I want to, be a part of making a character. I want to be a part of the story.
Sure.
I want to be a part of the movies that I watched, and I could do that because now I'm in Orlando. And so I enrolled myself into a makeup school, and I thought I wanted to go the whole movie monster making side, which I had a very successful interview with Universal Studios, and I ended up landing the best job you could get with actual legends in the industry, like people who had their own like makeup lines and books. And I looked around and I'm like, how did I get this job? Like, I remember thinking like, I have to work next to them. And I remember we would get these renderings of the character makeup, and they'd be like, okay, this is what we need to make it look like. I'm like, okay, I can do that. 'Cause I'm not a painter, artist. I don't draw for fun.
Didn't grow up painting with
shadowing and colors,
Okay.
like the color wheel. I get that, but it doesn't. I'm not gonna be able to do a whole bat skeletal system on
Sure.
someone's chest and be like, look, they're gonna put a mask on, now they're a bat. Like, that's not me. They were doing these incredible pieces of work with airbrush, while mine was like shading, and I'm like, oh man, I hope they don't know that one's mine. Well, all of theirs get sent back, and mine is like passed because they wanted it simple. They didn't want these like
Sure.
Halloween-y makeups. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, like.
Yeah.
So it was just a moment where I was just like, wow, that was a level up.
Yeah. So like you said, you're not an artist. You don't get into like building face stuff, right? Like,
Right.
We see in movies, and, there's so many stories about people sitting in makeup for 8 to 10 hours or whatever, and then going to shoot in a scene. Like, you came from it from like you said, shadowing side of things,
Yeah.
and general, I guess. And like, probably looking back on just what you've mentioned is with the swimming too, is like, you didn't learn it from a book, it's natural.
Right.
Which seems like a theme here, just starting out. Like, things just come naturally to you, and you just gravitate, like, oh, I'm naturally good at this, I'm going to run with it. Do you grow up watching movies as a kid as well? And that's where you thought about movies? Like, I want to be a part of that?
So when I was a kid, I actually really loved music industry, but I wasn't a singer. I wasn't into that. But I was like really transfixed with like Christina Aguilera and like the pop bands. And I thought, man, I really want to be in the entertainment industry, but I don't want to be an actress. I don't want to be a singer. I can't be those things because, everyone tells you can't do anything.
Sure.
And so you believe it. And so I remember as a kid, I would just like sit in my room, do my makeup, listen to music. And then on the weekends, it'd be like super fun. We go to Blockbuster, we get a movie, get a take and bake from Papa Murphy's. And like you committed to watching that movie because you paid like $4 for it.
Yeah.
You didn't get to just click next.
Kids these days don't know what it's like, do they?
And so I remember just being like, wow, this is such an incredible, I don't know, whatever it would be.
Industry,
and the cult classics, I think, are really, like, for me, watching over and over again. And then sometimes, well, that's going to jump way ahead. But, yeah, to me, it was thinking, like, wow, this is so amazing. And it kind of took me out of my life and my problems with my family.
Sure.
And so I got to, like, be in another world for a minute, which is what movies do for everyone.
Right. So when you get into, like, towards the makeup side of things, and you do get this, you're around these amazing people, and you're like, whoa, like, how have I even got here? You just continue to get in that world, and you're just a part of that world and dive fully into it? Like,
so,
this is my career now?
This is an interesting point, because now I feel like people aren't like this anymore. I responded to an ad for an internship, and it was unpaid. And this lady, she was like really tough, which is fine because I have coaches and I know what it's like to take criticism, to not be warm and fuzzy. It was fine. And people were like, oh, she's so tough, like, you're not going to like her. And I ended up being paid very well. And she told me it was my work ethic. And I replied to the job expecting no pay, but I wanted to learn from her.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I ended up, like, more freelance side, learning that, like, I didn't have to go work at Dillard's. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that wasn't my dream, to sell. My dream was to be a part of the magic, what you see on TV.
Yeah,
or on screen.
And I mean, now to this day, I guess you are, right? Like you're being thrown through walls and stuff, which is totally
which
different.
is so crazy to go from doing the makeup
Yeah.
to now being a part of the thrown through walls.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you're doing the makeup thing, how long are you doing that? And I guess you're in Orlando, right? Like there's all these movies going on. There's Disney and everything else that's going on around that. It's, Florida or whatever. I guess you just meeting all these people and getting involved, and you think, hang on, maybe I could do that one day.
So actually, pretty much. So the first time I ever saw a stunt, I was like, wow, that person, he looks just like this person. They're going to do this. And I kind of like always had my ears open to just being a sponge and like listening to how all the conversations go. And so one day I had in my own mind that I want to do that, but I didn't want to tell people that because, again, people want to like crush your dreams.
Sure.
I don't know why people do this. Maybe because they're afraid to dream for themselves. I don't know. But I put it in my head that I was going to do that. I didn't really tell anyone. And then I worked towards how can I do that? How can I get the opportunities to have people ask me if I can do that? And it was a long grind.